I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series. Let me first thank all the viewers and subscribers for watching my videos, providing suggestions, and sometimes posting questions to solve. Let me thank Isha Sharma for posting this particular question, where we will find inverse of a square root function. Isha, thanks a lot for providing me with this question, and I hope the solution will help many of our viewers. The challenges which one can actually get in solving such question is, as you rightly pointed out, is in finding the domain range of the inverse function, right? So for a square root function, we are looking for a quadratic function as an inverse, and that quadratic function will definitely have restrictions. Perfect. Now, how do we find those restrictions will be the major focus while solving this question. So let's look into the problem once again. The question is, find the inverse of f of x equals 2 minus square root of 2x plus 6 plus 4. First thing which you should do is rewrite the question after factoring this 2, right? So within square root, let's factor 2. Then we get x plus 3. And here we get plus 4. Now clearly you can understand what the transformation is, right? So let me sketch the graph here for the given function. So the transformation, the square root function will normally be like this. And what are we doing here? We are reflecting it, so it becomes kind of like this. And then we are actually compressing it horizontally, so it becomes sharper. And then we are translating 3 units to the left. So when you translate 3 units to the left, then this interior things become 0, and what you get is 4. So we get a point here which is kind of, let's write down this point, minus 3 and 4, right? So that will give you a graph which could be now something like this. Is it okay? Well, I just got it very close to the x-axis, but anyway, it should not be that close, right? Okay. So basically, what we're trying to say here is that what we get is something like this, and this point here is of our interest. It is at minus 3, and the y value here is 4, correct? So what you should do right in the very beginning is write down domain and range of the function itself. So for the function, what is the domain? Domain, as you can see, is that x belongs to real numbers, where x is greater than equal to minus 3. And the range for this particular function will be that y belongs to real numbers, where y is less than or equal to 4, right? So where y is less than or equal to 4. So this is as far as the function is concerned. Now, let's talk about the inverse. What happens to the inverse? That is f inverse of x. Now in inverse, domain and range will swap, right? So in inverse, we'll see that domain and range swaps. So the domain for the inverse function, let me write this bar here, will be the range becomes the domain, right? So in that case, it will be x belongs to real numbers, and the value of x will now be less than equal to 4. Correct? As far as the range is concerned of the inverse function, right? So we should write y here. Okay. It'll be y will belong to real numbers, and that domain becomes the range. So y becomes greater than equal to minus 3. Do you see that? So immediately you get answer to your question. So what I'm trying to say here is that the parabola, which will be part of its inverse, will have a restriction, and that is to say x value will be less than equal to 4. So let's say this is 4. I know this graph is not very correct. Okay, anyway, I'll not sketch the parabola here. So what I'm trying to say here is that the parabola, which is going to be, so we have the x value which is greater than this value of less than this value of 4. So it is on the left side of 4. Right? So it is on the left side, and the y value is greater than minus 3. So I'm not sketching on this since it is not on the scale. It will be kind of like this. Do you see that? Where the vertex for this point is at x value of 4, the y value is minus 3. Do you get the idea? So the inverse will be a part of parabola which is going in this particular direction. Does make sense? So that becomes the domain and range for your inverse function. Perfect. So I hope this point has been well taken care of. So this is a major issue which has been addressed. Now, let us see how to find the inverse of this function, right? So the steps involved are, we will actually swap, right, x and y value and then figure the solution out. So the equation given to us is y equals to minus square root of 2x plus 6 plus 4, correct? So to find the inverse, we'll write this as x minus, so this becomes 2y plus 6 plus 4, correct? Now we need to isolate y, right? So it becomes x minus 4 equals to minus of square root of 2y plus 6. Now minus will take on this side and then square, right? Since this is square root, so we'll do minus of x minus 4, like this. Then we are going to square it. And what we get here is 2y plus 6. Clear? Now we'll take away 6 and divide by 2. Right? So we have here minus of x minus 4 whole square minus 6 equals to 2y. Now to find y, we are going to divide by 2, right? So once we divide by 2, it becomes half of minus of x minus 4 whole square. Purposely, I'm not making it positive so that, you could see what it is. Once we square, it becomes positive. All negative things will become positive. Dividing 6 by 2, we get minus 3 here. Correct? So we get our expression for the inverse. And now we can write that the inverse of this function is equal to half of minus x minus 4 whole square minus 3. Now when you write this particular answer, you have to include the restriction, and the restriction in this case is that x is less than equal to 4, right? So this is your restriction. If you do not include this restriction, then you are including this part of the parabola, which is not the inverse of your function. You get the idea, right? Perfect. So that is kind of very important to understand. So to avoid this mistake, what normally should be done, which is not really done, is find the domain range of the function itself, then swap them, right? So swap them to get the domain and range of the inverse of the function. So you get a clear idea of what part of the parabola is your solution. Include it in your solution so that you get full marks for the question and you understand how to do it. So I hope that makes things absolutely clear. Feel free to write your comments and share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.